All right, so over the past month and a half, we've been hearing about one thing after another when it has to come through with natural disasters, when it has to do with the America pulling out of Afghanistan, and just us being a power, us being the land of the free, and people wanting to gravitate to the United States. Um, this topic here is talking about the Afghan refugees versus the Haitian refugees, right? And the reason why we picked this topic this week is because Philadelphia has now become a major hub for the Afghan refugees that are coming into our country to be processed and then given homes, right? Given homes and then given new identities and new life. The same thing that the Afghans are dealing with, needing to flee their country to have better living conditions, safety, education, all of that is happening to the Haitians. Now, the Haitians were affected by a large earthquake, and then 2 or 3 days later, the hurricane hit. So their country has been ravaged by this disaster. They took a lot of the people from Haiti and brought them over to Mexico, the Mexican border that borders Texas. There's a border that they took them to, a place in Mexico that they took them to, which borders Texas. That if you cross over the line, some water, that you are in the United States now, which to a number of folks is the land of the free, opportunity, a place to start over. And as we can see in this picture right here, these are Border Patrol officers, chasing down these Haitian refugees because they're trying to get out of the squalor that they have them in, living under a bridge that separates Mexico from the United States. Right? How come we as Americans involve ourselves in places like Afghanistan for war and riches, right? But we cannot involve ourselves in a place that has been destroyed, you know, from a natural disaster. But we frequent over there when we take our trips, and we go over there and take their resources, and those people, we benefit from those areas over here, but we can't allow their people to benefit the same way these other people benefit. And it's becoming a debate,
Right.
a topic that is starting to now raise the eyebrows of colored people versus non-colored people, right?
Hmm.
Haitians are blacks. They're dark-skinned people.
Right.
Where now the Afghani people, well, the United States says, oh, well, we have a relationship with Afghanistan. We went over there 20 years ago after 9/11 happened, and we went over there and we took control of their country. Yeah, we took control of a country that actually never allowed us to control them. Because now, 20 years later, the United States is out of that country, lost a lot of resources, lost a lot of things, only to just habitat there for 20 years. And now they need shelter from the Taliban, where these people are affected by a disaster and need a place to stay, and we won't give it to them. Just as T's last segment talked about our government always sticking their nose in the places that it does not need to be. That's one of the
Right.
things that we also need to be cognizant of when we go vote each year is how we're actually voting. Are we voting for a party affiliation? Are we voting for just to say we voted? Or are we truly voting for the right policies that are affecting us as people? Right? You might have a daughter, you might have a son, you might have someone in your family that at some point may be affected by this abortion situation. You may have a relative that's of Haitian descent or Jamaican descent or descent from any other country other than here that might need our resources at some point, but they're treated unhumane.
Right.
But you may have somebody else that has nothing to do with this country because we want to be territorial and go over there and disrupt their lives only for them to be brought over here and given lives better than the people that live here.
Right.
These people, these Afghan people, and I do not say they don't deserve a better life, because we all do as human beings. We are all the same when it comes down to it. We're humans. We're born the same way and we die the same way, right? But when does it become a responsibility of us all to become one and band together? That's why this topic was such of an importance. It just so happens that I'm in Texas this week, and had a firsthand chance of going into that area to seeing, what it's like, just to see, the differences that Texas has. If you ever been in Texas, you see that they have a large population of Hispanics, Mexicans, blacks, also a large population of white, but majority of the state is made up more of minorities than it is of, the Caucasian descent. I was, doing my research for this topic, in Texas actually used to be a part of Mexico.
Right.
United States purchased Texas from Mexico and actually kind of, like, as we always do, bully things and took over this state. But getting back to the natural thing at hand is, when do we stand up to our own government and says enough is enough? Let's treat each and every person like a person instead of as a financial gain or as a way of being a politically driven aspect to a agenda or propaganda.
So, Kenya or KD, do y'all have any thoughts on this topic?
Oh, hell, I'm back.
Yeah, KD.
Oh,
Finally.
okay. I'm just sitting back, relaxed.
Do y'all have any?
Well,
any
see,
thoughts?
I have to catch up. I mean, the only thing I know is that y'all are discussing about the explosion of Haitians.
Right.
I made a promise to myself that I was going to zip my mouth on that tonight, because I lost it today on my live on Facebook. I even took it down. It's going to be up on my YouTube, but I had to take it down because I absolutely lost it when I saw the footage of those men on those horses chasing those people, those humans. So
Kenya, you got any
I don't
thoughts?
like it.
Kenya, you got any thoughts on this?
I do, but no, I'm not.
All right. All I'm going to say is, at some point, we have to start minding our business and let everybody do what they do, because we got our own issues. But I have a question for y'all. Would y'all be opposed to going back to how do you say the fucking word? Segregation. Would you be opposed to going back to segregation? And on our own terms, segregation, not slavery segregation, our own terms segregation. Would y'all be opposed to that?
I would.
Mm-hmm.
I would.
What about you, Kenya?
I would be opposed to it. I mean, there are some well-meaning people out there. It's just the ones that make decisions, are making decisions right now, are not those people, basically, for the most part. So when our past president didn't help the situation any at all, he just basically opened the door for idiots to show their that they are idiots. And now it's at the point where you got to pick and choose who you deal with. But I wouldn't want to go back. Now, when we did have segregation, black people did have more. We did prosper a little bit more,
Right.
but you see how that turned out. They didn't like the fact that we were prospering, so they destroyed it. So I mean, it's hit and miss. It could go either way, but I don't think I would want to go back to it.
Now, wrapping up this topic, what are they doing now? What's the next move? What are they doing to figure
Well,
this?
they are now allowing those Haitian refugees to now be transported to different states. So as of early as yesterday, you had them flying out, those Haitians that were under that control to different states for allowing them to get temporary housing and benefits. Because when the beautiful thing about this the world that we live in now is social media, pictures, instantaneous snapshots of what's going on and it being distributed around the world. So now you can't say, oh, that didn't happen. You can't cover it up. It's brought to the forefront. So when those pictures came out and you have so many people now becoming vocal, now they have to backtrack and they have to backpedal and now say, all right, we didn't mean it to be like that. It just happened because we didn't have control yet and we were trying to assess certain things, and now we got a plan now. So that's what happened, and that's the beauty of these devices that we hold in our hands daily and dearly to our lives, is these cell phones, and allowing those pictures to be shot out to so many different people. So not just like the Afghan refugees, like they're sending to different states, they're sending those Haitian refugees as well to these different states, processing them so they now have homes and they now have adequate living conditions that they can now become part of society, as well as the Afghans as well. So that's happening.
Okay.
One more thing. If I come up missing in 2 days, the government's got me.
They gonna take Nell down in Texas, y'all. Pray for Nell.